Thank you everyone for coming back. We're hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. So just gonna do a quick recap of what's going on this week. So we are doing a different event every day of the week. Yesterday we posted a video on YouTube. I'll be putting a link in the general chat later, and it'll have links to all of the things that we think are important. You'll have links to like all of our social media, links to the YouTube video that we posted yesterday, as well as like meeting slides that we had in the past. It's all in one place. It's on our link tree. We'll probably be giving it to you guys every time we have a meeting, just because it's an easy place to put everything together. But yesterday we had an officer introduction video where we just got to tell you about what our responsibilities are as officers, and yeah. We hope you guys get to check it out later today. Today we are having industry meet and greet. So we are joined today by Mr. David Gonzalez. I'll let him. I'll let him introduce himself in a bit. But yeah, we're really grateful for having you. So thank you. And then tomorrow we are having officer Q&A. So we'll be live on our Discord for, I believe, from 3 to 5. We'll have an Instagram and Facebook post about that, so you guys can look at it there, where you guys get to come in, talk with us. If you have any questions, that's the time. It's going to be more of like a relaxing event where we're just like, we're there to just talk and chill. And then Thursday will be a projects and workshop seminar where Christine and I, Christine is our projects chair, will be talking about what it is that we have planned for the semester in terms of like projects and workshops. Kind of straight to the point. And then Friday will be an online social night. So we'll be on our Discord again. We'll be playing games, and everyone's welcome to come along and have fun. So yeah, that's the quick recap. We hope to see you guys at the other events, but thank you for coming here. I'm going to let David take it away now. So, David.
Okay, hello everybody. So yeah, I'm Mr. Gonzalez, and I am the chair for IEEE here in Southern California, Inland Empire, excuse me. And for those of you that don't know me, here I am. For those of you that do know me, here I am again. So thank you, Adrian, for allowing me to be part of this in the meet and greet. So the point of, I'm hoping you all can see my screen.
I can see it, yes.
Okay, so this is something in which you all have an inside track of things that are going on. And again, for those of you who don't know, I'm also a Cal Poly alumni, class of 1995, back in the previous century. And I'm always happy to help all our universities, which is California Baptist University, University of California, Riverside, Cal State San Bernardino, and also Cal Poly Pomona. Okay. So during my presentation, we're going to do this, free and loose here. So if you have a question, please stop and we'll chat. Hopefully we'll get all this done within the hour allotted for our meeting. I tried to stick to the time, and Mr. Alarcon is going to tell me when we have 10 minutes left. So I'd like to finish 10 minutes before the hour, okay? So that leaves time for Q&A, or at least 5 minutes before the hour. So I quickly slapped together this PowerPoint presentation. So again, that's who I am. Got various degrees. Didn't go for my doctorate degree because I just too much trouble. The Navy would have paid for it, but I'm like, I don't have time for it. So I'm the chair of IEEE Foothill section. And for those of you students too, please, we still have a survey out because we're looking to change our section to become the IEEE Inland Empire section. So if Mr. Alarcon, if you have the link, if you can please send it to all your students.
Yeah, I'll try and get that right now.
Okay. So it's good to have input for those of you. Although Pomona is part of the eastern part of Los Angeles County, most of our section is the Inland Empire, which is San Bernardino and Riverside counties. Okay, anyway, enough for that. So here's what I'm going to cover. Talk a little bit about me till you're bored about hearing about me and who I am, and a little bit and about the Naval Surface Warfare Center, which is a Navy base here in Corona, which is where I work. And with that, the reason I mentioned that is I'm going to mention to y'all scholarship opportunities and internships. So this is sort of, you get a 2-for-1 taco deal. So not only can you ask me about what I do in industry, and specifically for the Navy and the DoD, Department of Defense, you can also have learn about these opportunities. That these slides, Mr. Alarcon has them, and he'll be happy to share with everybody. So let's make it short, like I said here. So I was born in Colombia, so I'm a U.S. citizen, naturalized. Came here as a young lad, and raised in Southern California. I have 4 daughters, no sons. All of them are in college, and I live here in Riverside. So I've been living in the Inland Empire. I was raised in Redlands, but live and work in Riverside, on the edge of the Corona and Riverside, where the 91 and the 15 meet. So the degrees I have are Cal Poly. I got my Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering. I got a Master's in Business Administration from the University of Redlands. And I also got a Master's of Science in Program Management, or an MSPN, from the Naval Postgraduate School. Those are some of the other certificates I have through CompTIA because of the things I do. So I'm Network Plus and Security Plus certified, and also Microsoft certified, or an MCP. So I deal with a lot of information systems. As a project manager, I oversee contractors that maintain our infrastructure and our computer systems and our racks. I have 20 years working for the Department of Defense and the US Navy in Corona, and 4 years prior to that working in aerospace industry for Rockwell, and then later became Boeing. In fact, it was Boeing that paid for me to get my MBA. And I have, prior to that, I'm 100 years old, so I lived many lives. I've worked in the medical field as a respiratory therapist prior to all that. And I still have my respiratory therapy degree. I'm nationally registered as a respiratory therapist. Why? Because my family's medical, and I was supposed to be a doctor, and I said, I don't want to do that. I want to be an engineer. And boy, was it tough. But I still remember a lot of the medical stuff, and believe it or not, it's helped me for a lot of biomedical engineering things I've been invited to through MIT and UCI. And also I worked for a while in the biochemical warfare initiatives we had for IEDs, for explosive devices and helping to protect our warfighters. So presently I'm the chair of the Foothill section here in Region 9. There's, I'm sorry, not in, it's actually in Region 6. My bad, there's a typo. There are 10 regions in all of the country. IEEE has 440,000 members in there. I was also previously the vice chair of the Women Engineering Affinity Group, helped starting that in our section. And I was the past chair of the Computer Society. And one thing I'm doing through IEEE USA, I've actually started a US Government Communities of Interest initiative, which actually has a student volunteer program. So if, I think last time I talked about this, actually one of your fellow students, Mr. Alarcon, actually reached out to me, and I'm having them connected to our student volunteer program manager. So this is a program in which you as a student can volunteer your talents and time, especially if you have WordPress and know how to do WordPress. We can use that. And that it's a 6-month cycle, and it's volunteer, so you don't get paid, of course, but you help to, and we have university students from the University of, where is it? We have some from Utah and some from University of Virginia. So it's across the US. It's not global, it's just US. And it's an initiative to help different departments within the federal government. So we, for example, I work for the Department of Defense, but we also have the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Interior, and even the Department of Energy, national labs, things like that, in which what's happening in the federal government, everybody's in their own little swim lane and don't talk to each other. And there really is no mechanism for, like myself, if I want to talk to someone from the Department of Energy, we have a common interest. So let's say something as simple as drones. Federal government uses drones. And what I found out is like the Department of Forestry uses drones, but also the DoD. So that's in which we can have an area where we can discuss with each other. Andy Seeley, who is the guy who started this, says this is like matchmaker.com, in which you from different departments can talk to each other, which you would have never ever known you existed, and talk about something like drones, but unclassified, of course. So that's quickly what it is. So if anybody's interested for that, students, the only requirement is you be a U.S. citizen. Then there's also a cybersecurity summit that I've been organizing, and it'll probably be next year. If it's still with COVID and the restrictions, it'll be virtual. And then I'm also a member of the Sustainability Technology Conference that's happening once a year. We just had it recently. It was very successful. So anybody who's interested in green energy or those kind of things, they actually have a student competition poster contest. So if you have something that's about renewable energy or ways in which you can like even make a battery more efficient, and things like that, that could be submitted as an entry for this poster contest. We of course have also lecturers from different parts of the world. So all over the world. So we've had a lecturer from New Zealand. His talk was very good. And he made a solar powered unit that would melt plastic, then would make threads from that plastic to feed to a 3D printer. And you'd actually put that out in the middle of the jungles in the Solomon Islands out in New Zealand, Auckland. So that's one example of many that's really cool. So anyways, let's go on with that. There's more things and I can bore you with that forever and ever. But this is a nice shot of this part is called a casino. This is on the Navy base. No, we don't gamble. A casino like what you'd see like at Catalina Island, it's called a casino because it's round. And this is actually a historical site now for the state of California. And this is pre-COVID where we would have our meetings and have fun stuff in our Thanksgiving dinners, which is a little bit off the enclosed area where we have the only people with DOD passes can get in. So that's where we lock up all our engineers. But it's a man-made lake here too, where they actually do testing. And so it's part of what's called the Naval Sea Command. And it's a warfare center because we deal with missiles and things that blow up and do fun stuff like that. And there's many of them across the country. And so that we're part of that. So we're a military base. So it's the Naval Surface Warfare Center there, Corona Division. And I'm not military. So this was sort of weird when I first started 20 years ago. They had like the flag raising and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is, okay. So you stop and you salute the flag and you do certain military stuff. Although these guys are in uniform, 98% of the base is actually non-uniform people like myself. Never been in the military, but I'm a civil servant. And so that they got all the smart people there. So this base has a lot of scientists, technologists, engineers, and PhDs. And the PhDs are in mathematics, physics, chemistry, all across the board. So although you may not think, well, military is not for me, it's been pretty good for me for the last 20 years because they actually pay for you to get your advanced degrees, even your PhD. So I've had through IEEE, in fact, this morning, one of my former Cal State San Bernardino students put me as a reference, and I had the interviewer call me because she had just interviewed with her this morning. And to get, as a reference for her applying for actually a Navy base in San Diego. And quick funny story, turns out the person who was interviewing her was someone I used to work with here at the base. So we chatted for a long while. So I said to the young lady who asked as a ref, like, hey, no worries, this is in the bag. This person knows me. So that's one thing in which networking can help you guys. So don't think you have to do it by yourself. And I've said this many, many times, is that this is where what you have, and it's including the meet and greet you have for industry, where it can make the difference. Because when you go to interviewing, and I in the past have been the technical interviewer for many interviews, I share different tips with students on what to do and what not to do, so that you don't get somebody mad and you don't realize you just insulted them. For example, as one, like I'm teaching you all, a thing just to be safe is just call somebody by, Mr. Gonzalez, Dr. Gonzalez, whatever, because you don't want to assume that they're okay with you calling them David, okay? In my case, okay? Let them give you the permission to let you call them David or to drop the doctor. So we have many doctors within our section. You would know it because they're very casual about it, but you want to really be respectful first. And then our captain is a young guy. His name is Captain Hembry. And the way the base work is every 2 to maybe 4 years, we change out the captains. So the only thing that's constant at this base is really us. Like I said, I've been there for 20 years. So before I get into this, does anybody have any questions? We'll do a little quick pause. No? You can unmic your phone, unmute your mic, please, if you have a question.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask around.
Okay, then maybe as we go on, you'll probably have questions about this part. So this is something that I want to share with you students. The Navy and also the Navy base in Corona has opportunities for all students, for high school students, for undergraduates like yourself, postgraduates, and even faculty members. I guess got this picture because I'm like, I don't know how to show a faculty member. So, okay. So there's a high school program, and I know you're not in high school, but if you have siblings that are still in high school, they actually do offer an apprenticeship program, which is called Science and Engineering Apprenticeship Program, or SEAP, SEAP. By the way, military loves putting QT acronyms together to spell something out. So this is called SEAP. So it's an eight-week high school apprenticeship in which they actually go on base and they're assigned to an engineer or a scientist, and they have them do basic things. It's good that if they know like Excel spreadsheets or Microsoft Word, and if they don't know, they can learn while they're there. But usually, like seeing that you have some basic Microsoft Office skills, and it's during the summer, so it doesn't interrupt with the kids' regular academic year. Of course, it's online. And speaking of that, they're offering it so that in the case of next year, so we're talking about next summer, if it's either a hybrid or a face-to-face is able to do it, then they'll have that on base. If they don't, and if it continues with how, depending on how the country goes, and if we have a vaccine, if it's successful, they still are equipped to do virtual type of setups and have assignments over the internet and the connection that is a special connection through the DoD. So for example, I connected my DoD via a Navy laptop that is secure. So it's not like I go to the public website and get to see my Navy email. It's that structure in which they use that. In fact, it's called the Navy Marine Corps Infra, NMCI, I'm saying that, Navy and Marine Corps Infrastructure. So that's where that you get into. By the way, the Marine Corps is part of the Navy technically, so that's why we have Marine Corps in here. Although Marines may not say they are, but they are. So there's 25 national laboratories across the country. So you can apply for these if you feel like for your high school student sibling to get it out of California and go somewhere else, they can actually do it. But usually they try to keep it local. So we'll be talking about your sibling or someone you know going and attending this at Corona. It's actually technically NORCO. And again, they get in the environment of seeing how the Navy and the Marine Corps do things in laboratories. And so it's a good opportunity to get their foot in the door, basically. Now, Mr. Alarcon, you asked me at a right time because the deadline for that is actually coming up, November 30th. Excuse me. So right now is a good time to start getting the applications in. There's a portal, that's this website down here at the bottom. So it's no www, it's just, it's a secure HTTPS, seap.asee.org. Okay, that's a general public website in which you can go and actually get your siblings or someone to apply. Okay. Now here's for you all, and this includes undergraduates and postgrads. So it's called the Navy Research Enterprise Internship Program. So it's a paid 10-week paid undergraduate course. And by the way, for the high school, I think they get paid for that too. It depends on the base. I think our base pays high school kids. But this one is something which you can get paid for. And the thing that's good is you start then connecting with folks that are already on the base. If they see, you're pretty sharp and you're good at doing and picking things up and absorbing information and doing something and getting to understand how the Navy works, then they'll probably keep an eye on you so that when you come to graduation time, they'll probably be pressing on you to apply for a Navy position. That's how, now I can count maybe recently about 4 recent graduates are now working at Navy facilities. One is working in an Army facility. So there, again, now there's 30 naval labs in which you as a graduate or undergrad, excuse me, can apply for this internship program. Again, it's a Navy Marine Corps environment you'll work in. You'll see how things are done. And also gives you an idea of things of how to better do other things. So additional information can be about stipends and benefits. You'll find out on the website here. And it's basically based on the base you're at. Some bases, it's okay if you're not a U.S. citizen. For this one, for our base in Norco, it is a requirement you are a U.S. citizen. Okay, so you can't be a permanent resident like I used to be. You have to be a U.S. citizen. Which I should have put that on there. My apologies. And there's also some more stuff for undergraduates and postgrads. Is the SMART? It's again. The DoD likes making acronyms spell something else. So it's called SMART, the SMART program, which is Science, Mathematics, and Research Transformation. So it's part of the National Defense Education Program, or NDE. And it's scholarships in which they'll pay for you to be involved with this. So if you're looking for an undergraduate or graduate degree in any kind of STEM field, any STEM field, so it can be in mathematics, it can be in physics, it can be whatever. You'll receive a full scholarship. They'll be gainfully employed when you complete this program. What they do is have a requirement that if, let's say, for example, you get to be part of this, it takes you 4 years to graduate with your degree in engineering. Well, what they'll do is they'll offer you different options in which you can work at different bases. So it doesn't have to be just in California. But the catch is the 4 years they paid for are 4 years you have to put in. Okay, back to the Navy and Marine Corps. Now, they're going to pay you for that. So don't get me wrong. It's not like you're not going to be paid. You're going to be paid. But they just want to make sure that you're committed for 4 years and don't go off in a year or two after you do this. And here again, the deadline is a little bit late. You have a little more time. So you have until December 1st to apply for that. So even though and for those of you who are seniors right now, you may want to look into that for your graduate program, because that's why postgrads, they'll cover that too. And again, the website is down here on the bottom. And feel free to use me as a reference, but of course, I'll give you a footnote. Some of you I do know. Mr. Alarcon, I know. I would like to know him better. But for me to give you a reference, I don't feel comfortable giving a reference if I don't know you. Okay? So I'll offer that as a reference myself, but with that caveat. So if you want to get to know me, send me your resume. Tell me a bit about what you're doing in the club. Because what they want to see is, okay, I've taken, and please don't put like, okay, I've taken ECE 102. That doesn't mean anything to somebody reading your resume. Tell me about what you've done extracurricularly with IEEE, or even outside of IEEE. Okay? So this is a good program because they'll pay you for doing that. In fact, when I was at Cal Poly, there was a guy who was in the Air Force who, once he finished he got his degree, he became captain. But he was getting paid during the time he was going to Cal Poly. And it was under this program because it's all of DoD, it's not just the Navy. And then for graduates, there's also another program. So if you're getting into a graduate school, you can actually apply for both of these. And these are fellowships in which you can get into research. And if you want to work on your doctorate degree, there's also an opportunity here in which you can get as part of the National Defense Science and Engineering Graduate Program, or NDSEG. So it allows you to attend any U.S. institution you choose, any of them. Again, the caveat is with the amount of time you go to put in, you will then have to give that back and be stationed somewhere in some Navy or Marine Corps base, or any DoD base actually, because this covers Air Force and U.S. Army. Now, you don't have to put on a uniform. I don't like uniforms, or you don't have to salute anybody, okay? It's more you're a civil servant and you go in there as one. So that's quickly what it's about. And then I just put this in here in case you want to pass it over to your faculty members. They actually have, through the Department of the Navy Science and Technology Program, or ONR, the Office of Naval Research, ONR is what it stands for. They look for professors that are willing to look into researching naval research. And actually, it's pretty cool because they have facilities all over the world. I try to get into this because they have one in Chile. And my ancestry goes back to Chile in South America. And so they have also a summer research program. So if they can't do a whole sabbatical, they can do a summer program. For both, the deadline is December 10th. And for both, the website is down there at ONR, which stands for Office of Naval Research. And it's, they can apply for these programs and be involved in different research projects. So in closing, this is what all the different parts we covered for high school, undergraduates, postgrads, and faculty members that give you a little bit more information. So if y'all are interested, there's resources. If you're not and you think someone may be, it's good to help out your fellow students and pass the information along. And the contact person that you want to get for our base is the wonderful lady on the left. Her name is Karen Miles. Very, very wonderful, happy person. She's the STEM director and NEEC director, which is the Naval Educational Employment Committee director. And she's a little part of the Chief Technology Office. And it's Denise Corona, and there's her office and her cell phone number and her email. So I would recommend first emailing her, don't call her, and then put my name and Mr. Gonzalez as a reference. And you say, okay, what's your email? Well, here it is. So this is my email information for anybody who wants to find out more information about me or laugh at my picture on LinkedIn. There it is. Okay. And thank you for your time. And I just wanted to make sure I give time for anybody and everybody to have questions. Thank you.
So now, thank you, David. So now if anyone has any questions, now's the time.
Adriana.
Thank you. Now's the time to ask away. But yeah, you can unmute yourself, and if you saw anything that caught your eye, or you maybe want to like expand a little bit more, I'm sure Mr. Gonzalez can definitely talk a bit more about it. I guess I'll start off then.
Okay.
So how long did you say you've been working at Corona?
I've been working now for 20 years in 3 weeks.
20 years and 3. Oh, to the point. And is it cybersecurity that you work in there? But I know you definitely have like a knack for it. But like if you could explain your role a little bit more in depth.
Well, this is what's good is that in the Navy, it's not like other companies. They actually have is like if pre-COVID, we had separate buildings, and each building actually was a separate business line. So for a while, every 2 years, I was jumping around to different buildings to learn different parts of and opportunities I had. So for a while, I started off with calibration and metrology. That's what they hired me for. And I was doing, it's a big thing within the military to make sure that when you fire off a missile or you shoot even a rifle, that it actually points straight and you hit where you're trying to hit. So calibration and metrology is very important. And so from there, I went off and got into project management. So I was doing project management for a while. And again, I jumped from they're called directorates, from one directorate to another. And they're perfectly good with that. In fact, they encourage that for people to jump around with, and I'm still in my same job and learn different things so every 2 to 4 years, I was jumping around learning new things, which in industry, they really don't want you to do that. But in the Navy and other places, please do that because then you know more about what's going on. So during my career for 20 years, I've covered metrology. I've done project management. I've done chemical, biological warfare research. I've done Navy research. I've done that. And then I got into the IT area, was developing web pages and also managing contractors for development of IT services and IT infrastructures. Got back to being project management for other things with IT. And then because of recent years, I was doing more IT and infrastructure, IS. They then made me a member of the cybersecurity workforce. So I went off and got training in NIST standards and how to apply different patches and security infrastructure. So it's good because you don't want a job where you're stuck doing one thing all the time, and so that you expand your experience and your information. Because coming out of college, I didn't think I was going to be doing all this because my background was medical and I didn't have any idea. But for example, that medical part came in handy when I was doing biological and chemical warfare stuff, because I know how the human body reacts and this and that. And so, and it was a joint effort. So it was pretty cool because I was the technical lead for a group for metrology for the medical part, and was working with my counterparts from the Air Force and the Army. And I represented Marine Corps and Navy interests. And altogether we were the DOD, which was pretty cool. And so we got to see a lot of cool things. So we got to other bases, the Redstone Arsenal in Alabama, been to Ohio at the Air Force Metrology, it's a National Metrology and Calibration Standards Lab. And I've been to both NIST facilities in Gaithersburg and Boulder, Colorado. So I've seen some really cool stuff that PhDs have been showing me. This was like 10 years ago on nanotechnology, the kind of things they're working on. And I'm like, wow. And these guys are happy to share with you what they're doing. And so the one thing and the reason they want you to be a US citizen is for this, you eventually have to have a secret clearance. Mm-hmm. So because I was born out of the country, it actually took them over a year to get my clearance, cleared. And I came from industry. So I thought, well, I got secret clearance. Well, it turns out it's a lot different. There's this clearance for contractors, and then there's a clearance when you work for the DOD. So I had to do it all over again. Mm. And so, yeah, it was pretty, they'll interview your relatives, where they live, what they do. They'll interview your neighbors. But once you get your clearance, it's renewed every 10 years. So mine's coming up again in 2021.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, I think one of the good things about engineering is, or I don't know, maybe it's the eye of the beholder, but it's one of those majors or field of expertise that you're always learning, just because there's always something new.
Okay. Now there's some things on the chat that I'm seeing. So, you posted the links for the.
Yeah, just to make it easier for people.
All right, good, thank you.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'm gonna put the spotlight on Mr. Paredes since he just came in. Mr. Paredes, you have to ask me a question now. Now give me the wall of silence. Huh? Okay.
No, but yeah. So one of the other things is you said that you were jumping around and learning different things. What's one of the things that you really valued, or one of the things that have really stayed with you throughout the years?
Well, this is one thing because I'll share. Yeah, the one thing I liked, and I'll tell you that's the difference. It's a critique of, and so you students who are on the line, that this will help you, is that when you go to a big company, like an aerospace company, you become a number, okay? So, and that's why I found disheartening, because after I got my MBA and Boeing paid for it, of course it was Rockwell, so they still had the old managers from Rockwell who didn't really know how to manage people well, and it was terrible. It had a new sign, but the same old guys in the back who didn't know how to manage well. But what happened is I got my MBA, and I said, I got my MBA, yay, I'm a young engineer, I got my MBA, let's go. No, go back to your desk and do what you were doing before. So I'm like, okay, so I have an MBA and did all this stuff, and it didn't really make a difference. It'll maybe give me a little bit of increase in pay, but I have to ask for it. Mm-hmm. And so that they want to put you in a corner and you do whatever you're doing, you got a warm body, you're doing it well, don't move from there. So I liked the Navy when I first started because they let me do what I wanted. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it. So it is pretty cool if you're a go-getter. I used to be, but right nowadays, I sort of go and get it, but after I finish my drink. But it's more like if you're a go-getter and you show you're ambitious, and after 2 years of being in the Navy and part of the Navy, again, you don't have to be in a uniform, you're a civil servant, you can apply for a master's degree, no matter where it is. Mm-hmm. Go to USC or do whatever. They'll pay for it, okay? And unlike the other programs where you have to give the time back, if you're already in the NSWC Corona and you're doing it, they don't ask you to give the time back. You can leave the day after you graduate. Doesn't matter. In fact, at Boeing, when they had, that's one thing when Boeing took over to get things looking better. And I was incredulous. I said, so you're going to pay for everything. It wasn't like they were reimbursing me. They were paying for everything up front at Boeing. It's called the Learning Together program. I said, so if I get my degree and the day after I get my degree, I leave, I don't know you anything? They said, yeah, you don't owe us anything. Like, sign me up. And yeah, pretty much I got my MBA in the end of May. And by July 1st, I was gone.
Oh.
So that was one thing good. But getting in the Navy, you have the opportunity to move around and learn a lot of things and do research. And it's good. It's really fun in that respect. That's one thing I found refreshing comparing industry, aerospace industry, to going into the Navy part of that there was that freedom. And it felt more like family rather than you're a number.
Mm. Oh, that's good to hear.
Sounds corny, but they actually have once a year a summer family barbecue. This is pre-COVID. And you can bring the family, kids, relatives, everybody, and it's on base, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. And so I think one thing that I think a lot of students always are curious about is just like, you know, if you have any advice being from someone that's had like years of experience in the like industry, just like anything for students to like get started. Yeah, anything along those lines.
Well, yeah, and this will apply. So, because I worked both in the medical field and the aerospace and government. So I'm actually telling you things that the common denominator across the board for all of them is I'm an old guy. Now, old guys like me are the guys that will give you the jobs. Okay, so that what that means is you have to change your mindset as far as how to do things. Okay, it's sort of like it's psychological too. People will hire you if there's some familiarity and comfort with who you are. Okay, if like for example, if I pulled somebody out of Silicon Valley and put them in an interview with me, it would not be comfortable because the way they interview. And I've been interviewed by Microsoft and Intel, and it's really weird the way they interview it. The interviews go really weird because you're initially interviewed by people who are not technical, an HR person. And he's like, why are you interviewing me? You're not even technical. And I've gone through his interviews process. Now, not to say, hey, go to Silicon Valley, it's great, but my thing is, and I have friends who worked in Silicon Valley, is it can be a meat grinder. Same too with SpaceX. Here in Hawthorne, I've gone out facilities. A lot of young folks like yourselves look and talk and text like you guys, but it's a meat grinder. So you usually are there for about 2 years before you burn out. So I would say there's two types of areas. One is more progressive and more hipster, up to date. You know, you have your bun up here. If I had hair, I'd do that. If you're a guy. And it's more, you know, your Starbucks, let's be cool, hipster type of thing. And those jobs are good if that's who you are. But if you're more conservative and want stability, then the bigger companies are ones in which you can interview with. And those will be people like myself in which will be conducting technical interviews. So what's important here is a couple things. Create your own business card and work on your resume, okay? Now you have your folks there on campus at the Learning Center that can help you, but they're not really technical because a technical resume is different than your run-of-the-mill, you know, got an RC-Farsi degree and I want to get a job, okay? Never put your picture on your resume because then you look like a real estate agent. And also get an email that looks professional because you have to walk and talk and act like a professional of what someone like me is used to seeing. Okay, why? Because there's that familiarity. You want to touch. You want to connect with the person you're interviewing with. To say, hey, yeah, he can fit in. Okay, because my thing, and again, I've been part of the interviewing process for the technical part of it. In my mind, am picturing already. Okay, I'll use you as an example, Adrian. Okay, Adrian, yeah, I have this one project. I need to fill that position. You're a young guy. I see how you are through your resume. We just, and so make it clear. Unfortunately, your generation are the generations that are entitled, right? You get a trophy for coming in last place. You're not dealing with my generation like, screw that. You only get a trophy, you come in first place, okay? So that's why I'm saying change the mindset. So you're not entitled because you put in a resume that, okay, now give me a job. You're not working at Forever 21, okay? This is a professional organization. You have to act and talk and walk like a professional. So that the resume just gets your foot in the door if it gets past the first screening process. So that could be a whole talk separate on resumes I can talk to you guys about. But the resume is important. Have a business card, that's an extra oomph you can add to it. But your email address is also important. Don't put like cool dude at yahoo.com because I'll just think you're a Yahoo, you know? And that's why it's good to have like an IEEE email. .edu is okay up to a point, but if you've been graduated after a year, no. It's like living with mom and you're 40. You need to have like a professional type of email, right?
Yeah.
So once getting that and getting through the interview process, and so I'm giving you insider tips here, I look and see, okay, Adrian, I have something that's dealing with cybersecurity. Adrian has a background. I can see how he can fit in with the different personalities I have in that group. So I'm going to vote yes to hire Adrian because I want him in my group. Okay? So that's some of the things they don't teach you so much at school because you're learning theory. What a lot of students like is a lot of the software skill, soft people skills, okay? Or soft skills. That's something that I'm on advisory boards for other universities that I tell them, have your students learn about soft skills because those are important, even down to how you shake someone's hand, okay? So I hope that answers your question, Adrian. I have more things, but I want to stop myself so I don't keep going.
Yeah. Well, those were like the main things that I have. I'm going to open the floor for other people in case like they come up with questions during this. But yeah, so I'll leave it off. So if you want to ask any questions to Mr. Gonzalez, make sure to unmute yourself and, you know, ask the question.
Yeah, and please do. And thank you for doing that, Mr. Alarcon. It's good to, you know, Mr. Gonzalez is good. Maintain that professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not doing that. By the way, so I'll tell you, some people get mad at me for doing that. Like, no, I'm doing that to train you. It's not for my ego. It's so you get to the habit of having that, again, that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, you don't go to your professors and slap them on the back and say, how you doing, Chuck? Hey, how'd it go? How's that barbecue? No, you don't talk that way. You have to show some level of respect and separation between you and the professional who you're trying to impress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, please, somebody. Okay, Javier.
Yeah, David, quick question,
Yes.
because I'm actually like after school, one of my options like probably joining the military as an officers program and start my career there. Do you think that's a good idea or?
Well, I'll give you the lawyer's answer. Depends.
Okay.
Because if your passion is to get into the military, I would say yes. That's a good option to go. But what you don't want to do is a lot of recruiters will sell you a bill of goods and there's no guarantee. Okay, so that if you, for example, my cousin's son, he graduated from Annapolis as an officer. He's a pilot. And so you see Top Gun, he's one of those guys. And the thing is, he didn't go through a recruiter. He actually went to find the university where he can attend. Now you can attend a postgraduate program, but if you come in and you understand what is it you want and spell it out black and white, and they have to, you know, don't give me like, yeah, you can do that maybe. No. I want to be in the officers corps. You have to give that to me in writing. So before I even sign a paper to say yes to do it, you need to have that in writing. So that's if you go through a recruiter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's your passion, then yes, go ahead and do that. Does it buy you any more options? No, not really. Because it's only if you're an undergraduate and like my cousin's son got into Annapolis, does it make a big difference. It's not so much of a big difference once you're at a postgraduate level. Okay? So it's up to you, because a lot of times, again, like I did, I got into the Navy. I didn't have to be an officer, but they paid for my master's degrees. And they would have paid for my PhD, but I didn't want to pursue it.
Got it. Makes sense. Thanks, David.
Sure, no problem. All right, Mr. Gonzalez.
Oh, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah. So I think we'll leave it open for one more question because I do have a couple of announcements before things end, and I do want to take that screenshot at the end. But yeah, so if anyone has any one more question, that'll be it.
I actually have a very quick question.
Sure, go ahead, Sophia.
So you were talking very briefly about like your citizenship status and how a lot of companies require that citizenship eligibility. So what did it really look like for you when you graduated and you were now looking for jobs, but you had that limitation?
Well, it's not companies, they're bases, okay? So we're not a company, we work for the taxpayers. So technically the US government cannot make a profit. Now, if you go work for a company like I did for Rockwell and Boeing, there depends on the program you're working on, because some programs do not require you to be a US citizen. You have to be a resident. You can't be on an H-1N1 visa, but you need to be a permanent resident. And then you'll get the secret clearance at the contractor level. Okay, so the way it works is the military or the DOD has a contract. So let's say the jet fighters, so FA-18 is one of the ones we use is the Super Hornet, F-18G. See, I know all this stuff. And so I've actually gone to the facility in St. Louis where they actually make these things, and it's Lockheed Martin. So it's pretty cool seeing all these big hangars, and they have these pieces of jets they're putting together brand new. So it's like going to a factory where they make cars, but make it bigger for jets. So in those programs, they do allow folks to have secret clearance and be non-citizens. But for military, which you're in the base and working for the base, it depends on the base. Ours in Corona does not allow you to be a non-citizen to participate in some of these programs. Now, if you go to the websites of the different options you have for like the SMART program or the things for the undergraduates, it depends on the base. Some bases will allow you to be a non-citizen and participate in these programs. Okay, so that's why with the websites, you go and look which base has it. They may have changed it for the internship programs, but as Mr. Alarcon put the links up there, you can go in there and check in further about that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Awesome. Well, I'm just going to take this quick second to like say, if you guys have your cameras, we do want to get into the habit of taking screenshots so that we can post some of these events online. If you're not comfortable, we're not going to force you guys, but if you'd like, turn on your screen or your video for a little bit, just so I can do a quick screenshot.
Here, let me hide the margarita.
I was wondering what that was in the background. Okay, well, I'll take the screenshot right now. So, 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right. Awesome.
Let me take a shot too. So everybody,
oh yeah,
please, everybody, if you can, please turn your camera on so we can get a good picture. Okay. All right. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3. Look at me. Okay.
Oh,
there we go. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I just have some closing announcements. Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez, for giving us the talk. We really appreciate you coming in and giving us some of your time.
Well, I hope it was helpful. And I would, again, because of the deadlines, impress on everybody to please go apply. If anything, you'll learn the process of how to do it. And please take my advice to heart. It's not to be mean. It's just that's the way the real world works. So it's not like being on campus anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so just
Also,
to recap.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Go ahead.
Yeah, quick question, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Joe.
Okay, so if you apply, do you have to like follow up after a week of applying, or do you just like wait for their email?
No, what they'll do is they'll send you probably an automated email saying we received your application.
Okay.
And then from there, what they'll do is they'll not contact you until after the closing date, because they want to make sure they get everybody's resumes and things in and applications. And then they'll go through the process of selecting. So remember, this is ahead of time because we're talking about summer, in which they'll start these programs in the fall.
Got it.
But I would recommend, we've had students come through these programs and they actually are now working on the base for some of my good friends, because they already see that they're good at doing things. A quick pointer, if you know Arduino or Raspberry Pi or R or programming, those are very good skills to have when you get into some areas, because they'll be wanting to look at you doing programming and those kind of things. If you like cyber, there's also cyber areas in which you can be part of the cybersecurity course that we have, task force we have.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
You're welcome.
Okay. Just again, if you came here a little bit late, I'm just going to reiterate some of the things that I said in the beginning, but we are having a welcome week for this week. Yesterday, we posted a video on our YouTube. It's an officer introduction video where you guys get to know a little bit about what we do. Today was our meeting here with Mr. Gonzalez. Tomorrow will be a meet and greet on our Discord with the officers of IEEE at Cal Poly Pomona. And then Thursday will be a projects and workshop seminar where we'll be detailing a bit more about what workshops we have planned. And then Friday will be an online social. So you guys can just come back, relax after a week of classes. Again, I'm going to put our link tree in the chat. That has all of our most relevant stuff. It has social media. It has like some of the past events. It has a link to the slides for any of the meetings that we've had. So if you ever want to like check out what's been going on, always go through there, and you'll be up to date with most of what we have. But yeah, I'm gonna